The modern map of the Middle East was not drawn by modern satellites or bureaucratic politicians. It was secretly sketched over 150 years ago by heavily armed American naval officers, theologians, and spies, armed with nothing but Bibles, pistols, and a hidden geopolitical agenda. Before the British Empire drew its infamous borders, the United States executed a massive covert operation to map ancient Israel, laying the groundwork for a geopolitical division that still dictates the modern world. For centuries, the Holy Land was a blank space on Western map, a mystical realm of myth rather than geographical reality. But in the 19th century, America launched an unprecedented scientific crusade to conquer this uncharted territory. Today, we are exposing the declassified history of how America mapped ancient Israel. By the end of this video, you will discover 3 buried historical secrets: how American scholars used the Arabic language to unearth lost biblical cities, why the United States Navy deployed a heavily armed ship to the Dead Sea, and how a secret pact divided the Middle East decades before anyone realized. But the most shocking revelation is how a catastrophic failure birthed a weapon of influence. In 1838, the first accurate American maps were not created by digging in the dirt. They were forged by excavating language. American biblical scholar Edward Robinson and his guide Eli Smith traversed the region and uncovered a massive linguistic secret. They realized that local Arab populations had unknowingly preserved ancient Hebrew biblical names within their daily spoken dialects. By scientifically comparing local Arabic phonology with ancient texts, Robinson identified dozens of lost sites. He proved the Arab village of Akir was the biblical Ekron, and Ain Shams was Beit Shemesh. This raw data produced the 1841 Kuiper maps, the first scientifically accurate topographical map of the region, earning Robinson global acclaim. But linguistic mapping was only the beginning of a much more dangerous mission. By 1847, the American government escalated its involvement, deploying a heavily armed naval expedition to measure the hydrography of the region. Naval Lieutenant William F. Lynch led an official military operation to explore the Jordan River and the Dead Sea. Navigating treacherous waters, his men stood guard against hostile tribes with rifles and pistols drawn. Despite the lethal threat, they sounded the extreme depths of the lakes and rivers. The team conducted the very first scientific analysis of the Dead Sea, mapping its abyss and analyzing the chemical content of its mud. Publishing their hard data in 1850, they stunned the global scientific community. Yet, beneath this great triumph lurked a darker motive. Mapping the Holy Land was brilliantly framed as a religious and academic quest, but it secretly operated as a geopolitical blueprint. In 1870, the American Palestine Exploration Society was founded in New York by prominent theologians and university elites. To avoid creating conflicts with one another, the Americans signed a literal territorial agreement with their British counterparts. They ruthlessly divided the map. The British claimed all lands west of the Jordan River, while the Americans took the Transjordan in the east. This insidious treaty established an early Western habit of drawing strategic borders across the Middle East under the guise of scientific exploration. But the American dominance was about to face a humiliating disaster. The ultimate twist came in 1873. The first American expedition, led by Cavalry Lieutenant Edgar Stever, attempted to map 500 square miles south of Heshbon. Severely underfunded, they traveled without basic essential tools like a theodolite or measuring chains. Their resulting maps were so disastrously inadequate that the British explicitly refused to publish them. Realizing they could not compete with British cartographers, the 1875 American expedition completely abandoned topographic mapping. Instead, they pivoted to a revolutionary new weapon, the camera, 930-10, the solution, and CTA. They captured hundreds of photographs and collected thousands of ancient artifacts, creating a massive visual database that fundamentally shifted the Western mental mapping and visual investment in the region forever. What started as cartography transformed into powerful visual propaganda, cementing the American psychological claim over the Holy Land. Subscribe right now so you do not miss our next historical deep dive into the hidden truth.